Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to another ink video. Today we're still working on Ink Flight 20 and I'm going to be doing Herbin Vert de Gris right here. Here it is. And wow, this ink is really surprising me. It may be looking a little darker in the through the camera right now, but I think we're going to see a good variety. It surprised me because kind of this is sort of how it looked on the ink index, and then when you get it in a nib and you start writing with it, it looks darker. So I was happily surprised because that's a really pretty ink. I love it. I love how it looks on paper, and it's going to be awesome for letter writing. So there it is, and it's got the little it's got a little bit of shading, and this is the Tomoe River paper that I put it onto. It's available, this is still available at Ink Journal for $12 for a 30 ml bottle. And I'm pretty sure it's also available at Jet Pens and Goulet too, but I was checking on theirs because I'm realizing that quite a few of the ones that they put in the ink flights, that's where I got this sample from, was the September ink flight box. They have them until they've sold out on their website, so that's cool. My impressions are this will make a great letter writing ink, and it's kind of unique. We're going to see that as we get in here. You know, it's like you have that blue, but then when you start comparing it with other blues, it's not quite there, you know, and we'll see that. So there is some green in it, and it just sort of doesn't categorize too well, but that makes it unique, and I like things like that. So let's just get right into what I should have done first, the bath test. Oh boy, here we go. We'll do that. I think we'll have plenty of time because I even have one other thing at the end to show. Oh, that's very interesting. Huh. It's not like disintegrate. It's not. Huh. Wow. We'll have to let that marinate and see what happens. Very interesting. I didn't see that one coming. I thought it would lift right off right away. Yesterday's mostly lifted off. Yesterday was Herbin, the Corline de Egypt, and I think you can probably even see that you could still read it, but it has faded quite a bit from the bath test, which I do them all about the same. Shortly after I wrap up the video, I come and put it on a paper towel to dry, and there it is. So that's your result from yesterday. Okay, and then I wrote my daily notes already in my Tomoe River journal, the Cafe Note. It has the Tomoe River paper in it, and I love how it went on here. When I got onto this paper, the first thing I noticed was how incredibly free-flowing. It's got great flow. I don't know how to rate it. I know other reviewers do actually rate it, but I would just say that of all the inks I've been trying, this super up there with just nice and free-flowing ink, and I like that. I write quickly. And, you know, my letters are kind of big. My writing is sort of a big writing style, and I just felt so comfortable writing with this. There was a distinctive difference, so I'll just mention that in case that means something to you. It did fade over here because I'm still using my Serendipity hybrid pen, but you can see that darker saturated in the beginning. Oh boy, that looks nice. I just love it, and I couldn't be doing better. I finally got, for the moment anyway, a great balance of eating, sleeping, and pain-free, and magnesium, you know, restoring that. So it just feels great. And I've been working in the kitchen to kind of redo things, and wonderful, wonderful. So here's an envelope. Here is the AMPAD security envelope, kind of a really cheap envelope. And it feathered on that, but that's what we expect. What I'm more looking forward to is when we do the envelope in the bath test, because we get some surprises. As you probably remember if you watched my final wrap-up from 30 Inks 30 Days in September of 2018, that's what we discovered, was there was some surprises. So here it is on the Leuchtturm 1917 dot paper. I like how it looks. You get some shading. You get a nice... just a nice bold color. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it because I just wasn't. It seemed lighter on here, and a lot of times whenever that happens, I really am not happy with how it writes. So, you know, an ink will look so faded on the ink sample, I won't really want to mess with it in a pen, but that's a learning lesson. So here's Clairefontaine, the nice heavy good resistant paper, and it looks great on there too. I love it. There's no bleed through at all here on either one of those. And then Rhodia dot pad, same thing. It looks real nice and crisp and dark on there. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and compare, because okay, so down below here, here's CVS caliber filler paper, and I felt like it maintained pretty well on here too. It is a tad lighter, but not much. You know, that's really nice to have it, you know, not fade or anything on this paper here. So one more here, which is Office Depot College Ruled Notebook, which is an everyday notebook for me. And I don't really feel like it feathered much, and if it did, it doesn't bother me. It's nice and bold. Let's see. We can compare it. Let's compare it to Rhodia. You know, that may be just slightly wider, and it certainly looks darker, so it probably did suck in a little more ink, but it just doesn't bother me, especially since there's no bleed through. So that's great. I mean, that's a broad nib, so once again, that's a success there. Okay, so wow, that's an interesting ink. I mean, you don't really see the color anymore. I'm seeing more of either dark gray or black, but that's interesting. I was not seeing that coming at all. Another surprise. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with the ink chart, or the that I did. Okay, it's in the middle, so that is a little different. So keep them, and it's kind of a nice place for it actually, because it gets, you know, when I really come down to think about it, I may start putting the ink of the day in the middle on purpose. This was because it was part of another study, but if it's in the middle, I'm going to have it fairly close to each other ink. But I can't find anything in my ink sample collection of 200 and what was it, 64 or yeah, 264 that really comes close to it. But these are the ones that are in the ballpark, I would say. And you guys may have other inks that are right similar or comparable, but I don't. So this is kind of unique and it's interesting. I'm really glad about how it comes in that 30 mil for $12. That's a nice size. And I'm blessed because I have another 5 mil that my pen friend Sharon shared with me. So I have enough to really write with it and know whether it's going to be a must-have for me. But here it is compared to some of these that you may be familiar with. I'm trying to think if, well, many people would be familiar with the Noodler's 54th Mass. Not sure about some of these others, but it just doesn't compare, in my opinion, with what I have anyway. So I'll put that little stipulation there. So let's see how it came out. I'm still kind of playing in my art journal, and I thought it was neat how it reacted. I just put a nice thick paintbrush, put water on, and then quickly put a dab of ink, and then I put another dab, like I put one here and one here, and it just, you know, did its thing, which is all courtesy of the creativeness of Nick Stewart, who I started to see on Instagram, and I saw other artists who were doing this technique too, and I thought, oh, how fun, you know, just to see what happens in my art journal. It'll get me back in my art journal, and I know once I get going, I'll, you know, do it more and get past some of the perfectionism and the I don't want to ruin it and make mistakes kind of thing. So that was really interesting. So I think that's just about it, except for I had we'll take a peek at this. It's not changing though. I'll hold it up. It's really staying. You wouldn't lose what you wrote, although I am not so sure I'd want to put it on an outer envelope probably. Okay, so a pen tip before we show what tomorrow's ink is going to be. This is my ongoing, I guess you could call it an obsession now, with this caliber paper, because as you know, I really, really love the filler paper. And this was an idea that came to me. I may have heard it somewhere else before, but didn't register. But it really registered when my pen friend Banu sent a letter and talked about it and was writing on this paper. And I just was like, wow, this is awesome. It doesn't bleed through. It's thin, almost as thin as a Tamoy River paper. It's made in Vietnam. And I just decided to go ahead because I was hearing feedback from a lot of other pen friends that the other items that they make in this line and sell at CVS were good too. So I got this little memo book to kind of put in my purse that would be for, you know, it's much messier notes, and I won't feel so bad being that I think it was $1.09 for this one. And I did my pen test in the back, and sure enough, these are both broad nibs. You get shadowing, but I don't mind that at all. What I don't like is bleed through, and that interferes with how the writing looks on it. It doesn't, so it's just nice. And so this was a recent thing. I decided to go ahead. Now I've already decorated this one with a rickshaw sticker because I couldn't resist with this nice. This is different. This one's cardboard cover, kind of more. You see, it has that little light cardboard, and it's equivalent really to the little ones you get, like 3 for 99 cents. But those ones you're not going to be able to write with a fountain pen for the most part that I know of, because I've tried it. And so this is more like a plasticky feel. Like sure, you probably had notebooks like this before. It's much stronger, and I think this is okay, 4x6. This is a nice size for little notes at the desk or while watching other videos and things like that. And I do that all the time, but I didn't have very many that were fountain pen friendly. And I like a spiral, because there's nothing more, you know, I want to be able to just write and not worry about it coming back closed. You know, there's a time and place for that when I'm taking my time. So I did my pen test in that. And it was a broad nib, a 1.1 stub, and another broad nib with a real saturated dark Sydney Harbor blue. And it's the same story. Oh, wow. So this is cool. You know, these are not cheap. They're $1, $1.09, something like that. And then this one, real excited about this one, because this is a size I use a lot. And I really love the Mead ones, because the Mead ones have like these pockets, and I do tend, like if I take a class or anything, I have papers, I have all kinds of stuff to save, and I like that feature. But I don't like the fact that you only get to write on one side. And so I wish I could remember how much this was, but I do remember I was running in there with very little money. I had like $6 plus a bag of some quarters and nickels, and so it was right in the ballpark of maybe $7 for all three. And well, we all know how much this stuff costs when it's fountain pen friendly. So this is a nice deal for me, and the paper will go a long way. Here's the pen test. I used the broad nib. I used the stub. I used again, that real saturated Blackstone Sydney Harbor, which probably would go right through anything that wasn't good. And then I tried a few others too, just for the heck of it. Oh, I tried the Uniball Vision Elite, because those bleed right through. Now that's just an old pen that I have 2 or 3 that I'm using up, and I do grab them every once in a while because I don't want to waste them, and they're already out of the packages and stuff, and then they're not bad pens, but they bleed through regular paper like crazy, and they did not with this. Nothing bled through. You get some shadowing, you can see that, but you'll have no interference on the back. Papermate Ink Joy 07 tried to bleed through, but it didn't. By golly, it didn't. And those, if you're familiar with those Papermate, those thicker ones, they're pretty, but if you see, it's right here. But I say tried, it's just heavier shadowing. I don't see any actual ink, so I wouldn't even ding it for that. So I just wanted to show you, because you can trust these other products at CVS that say caliber, and I did check to make sure that up here it said made in Vietnam, because that's what I go by in Target and other places too. When I'm looking for inexpensive notebooks that are probably going to be fountain pen friendly, I look to see if it says that. And it says that on all of these, so I was pretty confident about it. Has it right there. And I hope they don't stop doing these, because these are really awesome. And I wanted to just share that with you, because it was shared with me, and it's really helping stretch my pen allowance. So okay, that's all for the main video. Let me show you what is for the next video, which is likely to be tomorrow. It is we're ongoing here in that Ink Flight number 20 from the Ink Journal Ink Flight box, and it's J. Herbin Corail des Tropiques. Anyway, it's a peach color. I don't have anything to compare it to, so I'm going to have to get creative in some ways to show you what it looks like, and just I'm going to have to get creative, which is fun. I'll get my paintbrushes out, I'll see what I can do, and we'll at least share what this does in a nib, in a broad nib with the Serendipity, because I'm continuing with that. It's really my best writer that I have, and I've gotten other broad nibs, but nothing compares to this one, so it's amazing. It's really kind of amazing to me. So anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you next time, which should be tomorrow. Bye for now.